I have a few questions to ask you today. I have about 6 questions.
Okay.
And question number one is, tell me about your educational and professional background.
My educational background is I did my undergraduate work at Clayton State College and University. I did my graduate work at Liberty University. As far as, what was the question?
Professional
My
background.
professional background, I came to DeKalb County as a paraprofessional in 2002, and I became a certified teacher in 2006, and I've been teaching ever since.
Okay. So how did you become a teacher from your other profession? What made you decide to become a teacher?
The need to, I'm basically a people person. I like kids. I like showing, kids different ways, as to how to learn, and just more or less giving back. I think that there are not enough people that are in the educational field that actually want to teach. I think there are people that just want to be a part of something where they can get vacation time or whatever. And I am a person that wants to give back and help people understand why an education is important.
Right.
Because growing up, although my mom was an educator, my relatives were educators, I didn't necessarily see the importance of going home to study, to do what you're supposed to do in school. And as such, my GPA when I graduated high school was below a 2.0. I actually flunked out of college twice. The third time that I went back, including grad school, I would say that my GPA was well above a 3.0. And, I learned the importance of an education, but it took me a while. And now I'm at a point in my life where, I've been at that point where I just want to give back and help people understand. Yeah, some of the stuff that we do is not necessarily important, that you won't use it later in life. But there are things that you can apply that you learn in school to your everyday life, and it will benefit you later on down the road so that you can get where you need to be.
Okay. So I'm going to continue down to question number 2.
Okay.
So what is your teaching philosophy?
My teaching philosophy is every child can learn. However, every child cannot learn the same way. And what I mean by that is some students are, you can take the inventory and see, you have visual learners, blah, blah, blah. But I think that you need to engage all students individually, if possible, throughout the week. And you need to talk to them to see where they are. Because there'll be weeks where you have some kids that excel, and then you switch up your teaching philosophy, and then those kids aren't excelling, but then other kids are getting it. So you have to continually communicate with kids. And the reason why I say all kids can learn is because I'm a prime example. I didn't learn the traditional way as far as sitting in the classroom and listening to someone lecture. That didn't apply to me. I was more of a person that I did better in online classes. I did better in small classroom sizes. I'm more of I like to engage with my professor and, and talk with him. That's the kind of person that I am. So when I say that all kids can learn, it's up to the teacher to actually engage each of his or her students in a way that's appropriate for that particular student, regardless of whether it's math, science, English, or social studies. You have to engage all students in order to make sure that all students are connecting with, the given concept.
Right. Okay, so down to within this philosophy, describe the professional development that has. No, I'm going too far. Okay, question number 3. How do virtual labs fit within this philosophy of teaching?
You get a chance to get away from group labs and this individual process, which requires reading and following directions. If you don't get it, I think virtual labs are good because you have the ability to rewind, as opposed to when you're doing a lab in class where the step 1, step 2, and typically you don't have the resources to go back and see, all right, where did I get this from? virtual labs give you the opportunity to go back and see, or to recheck yourself, as opposed to, I guess, the traditional labs. So I think virtual labs benefit kids in a way whereby, regardless of your learning style, you're able to, I guess, proof your work more. Does that make sense?
Right, right. Okay, so question number 4. Describe the professional development that has helped you to be effective in using virtual lab for teaching. Did you receive any professional development?
I went to the Explore Learning, I guess, the workshop about 4 years ago, and they explained, how you can. I don't think we've actually used it to. We haven't maximized how to actually use Explore Learning because they took it away from us, of course, and then they gave it back. But the way that Explore Learning works, you should have teachers from other schools and other districts across the country communicating back and forth, and you can actually add to the lab to I guess further engage students that want to have further inquiry to see how can this and this combine. You can add more questions. So I think the workshop that I attended, like I said, 4 years ago, was very beneficial in making the labs better, because you're not just getting one way of doing it, you're getting multiple ways of doing it, and you get that feedback from other teachers to say, okay, this worked with my kids asked me this question, so on and so forth, and therefore you can give that to your kids. And so that workshop helped me as far as just different ways to, I guess, get the concept across.
Okay. Question number 5. So this question has 2 areas or 2 parts.
Okay.
Part 1 is, what do you see as barriers to using virtual lab with your students?
The only barrier that I see is that some kids aren't as engaged. They want something that's hands-on, and they're more hands-on, so they're not as inclined to engage in the activity. Although you get the same concept, but you're not actually able to actually do the actual lab. So I don't think that everyone is not engaged, and you have some kids that they don't want to actually do the lab because it doesn't fit their learning style.
Right. So you're talking here about students with different learning styles.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are not benefiting from
Yes.
the lab because the labs are not addressing their learning style.
Their learning style.
Okay. So what about the benefit for using virtual labs?
The benefit, again, goes back to, when you do it like a traditional lab, typically, with our funds, we don't have the resources or the time to go back and have a redo. On the virtual labs, again, you can go back and you can actually redo the labs, or, to a certain degree within time constraints, but you're able to follow the directions, you're able to connect better, as opposed to having a group or whatever, and you're getting it off this person. The virtual labs allow you to actually engage yourself and learn the concept of what it is you're trying to learn. And again, I think it's at a slower pace, and I think, that it's more in depth.
Right.
But it doesn't apply to everyone,
Right.
Going back to the first part of the question. Because certain kids are just not as inclined to, engage for something that they really can't. And I think kids also, just to finish up, kids don't, when they get on the computer sometimes, or, they want to do other things besides just do the lab. When kids think of labs, they think of, I'm going to put them on, an apron, some goggles, and we're going to blow some stuff.
Right.
So it's just a new way of doing things. But I think it's very beneficial because I think kids learn more as they do more.
Right. Okay, so last question. What adaptation, if any, did you make to make sure that all students in your class benefit from virtual labs?
Going around and, again, talking to the students, or just checking for understanding as the students are doing the labs. and just making sure that they're actually engaged and not just, going through it without understanding the concept that's meant to be taught. And just, again, check for understanding, engage, and just communication throughout every student. What are you doing? Are you getting the concept? Do you see how this applies to what we were learning in class? Do you see the connect? So on and so forth. So just checking for understanding, communication with each student, and that's it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.